Hello, I'm Brandon Wormuth, and this is my second devlog of the project. I've got a small showcase here that I've set up beforehand, and as you can see, this week has been about creating the alpha, putting together all the pieces of each level, with all the blocks corresponding to my level blueprints, and the colours largely matching the same. As you can see, that's level 1 with the cryotones back there, and level 2 here with the living quarters. Moving on, there's the cafeteria type area, once again blocked out. Moving down, you can see the security checkpoint area. Let the video move on a bit, where you can see the checkpoint thing, the card read and everything. Proceeding on to the storage down below, which also links onto the engineering area. Let's look into engineering. There's the large three-floored area with various catwalks. And lastly, and then there's the switchboard, which moves on to the last level, which is the waiting room, complete with a whole vent system and the airlock over there. Zero to vent system, which is literally just a tube. I originally was going to do 8 levels, however, I've cut out the 8th level as I don't believe it's crucial to my story, and the implication that you've left the ship and gotten away in that from the hangar is enough at the end of this waiting room level, I believe. So this would cut out quite a large amount of work, which will enable me to deal with the limited time much better. In addition to blocking out all 7 other levels, I've also gotten the wall running mechanics all implemented. So the entire wall running sections work straight away. This is what part of my start of getting the alpha mechanics to work. However, this is the only mechanic that works thus far. Next week we'll be going into the mechanics of making everything work, from doors to vents to fire axes for the one specific malfunctioning door. More or less, this week's been pretty straightforward. The only issue I've had is with the lighting. But as you can see with the later levels, I've got no spotlights there, and I've got the entire place lit up. I've noticed this down my problem solving, but it's the only thing that could even be closely resembled to a problem, and was relatively easy to fix. Other than that, I believe that's it. This week has literally just been the tedious thing of going through each of my levels and setting up for the blocking out process. As I said before, next week will be making all the mechanical stuff work, and then putting in the final assets. Most of this is all blocked out, as you can see here. The only exception to this is the cryo chamber, because this was part of my experimentation, so I had the full model there. But eventually, all of this will have their proper models, and then that'll be moving on to beta when I've got the full models in. I believe that's it. I don't think there's anything I've left untouched. Yep, that's everything. Thank you. One final thing I forgot to mention was I've made a couple changes to the level blueprints. Well, actually only one, which is originally in the crew quarters there was no bathrooms at all, and I'd completely forgotten about this. So I've now added an additional door in, which implies its existence without actually adding onto the workload of having to model it all out, as they aren't important in the slightest to the gameplay or the story. And I thought this is an important thing to mention. I don't think there's any other planning changes that I've made other than within the schedule. The only other thing that's amended is my schedule, where I've made a few changes to the timings. And while I've still got this under week 2, because that's where I started the mechanical stuff, it's set as due date to 7th of May, which should give me plenty of time to get it all finished. I am cutting it close for time, but as per Monday in week 4, I have accounted for this with a slot of anything that could overrun, so I should be fine. But I believe that's all the amendments that have been made here. Overall, I'm doing pretty decent for time. I'm not in the best position that I could be in, but I'm also not too behind. I'll have to make a couple changes just to make sure I'm on track, but other than that, I should be fine for the rest of the project. Yeah,